Here I go, here I go, here I go. Yeah, here I go, here I go.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to yet another episode of the Take Podcast. I'm your host, Jackson Burleson, of course. And in today's episode, the Atlanta Hawks won their first ever NBA draft lottery. So they're going to be picking first overall in the 2024 NBA draft that's coming up this summer. But who's the player they're going to select in the draft? Well, it's projected to be Alex Sarr, which, if you don't know who Alex Sarr is, he is from France. So back-to-back years with French first overall picks. Never happened in NBA history. So that's a possibility this year. But Sarr, he plays in the NBL, which is a league in New Zealand / Australia. That's where LaMelo Ball played for the LOL Hawks before he got drafted. So some guys have came over from that league to the NBA. Now Alex Sarr, if I could just throw a draft comparison out there, probably Anthony Davis is the first name that comes to my mind. I mean, just being able to sit under the basket, protect the rim. You handle the basketball like a guard. He can run the ball in transition. He's got a nice three-point land, game, but he does need to improve that area just a little bit, I think. He's 29% from three this season overseas, but he does shoot 52% from the field, 2.8 blocks, so he can protect the rim. 9.7 points per game. Stats aren't great, but when you go watch this guy on YouTube and you go pick up clips from him, the intangibles, the skills, the IQ, everything is there for him to be a first overall pick to the Atlanta Hawks, who do need a big man because they do got Trae Young, they got DeJounte Murray, they do have that backcourt established, but they're still waiting for that big guy to come in there and be a force down low, especially in the pick and rolls and in the pick and pop, since he can shoot. So Alex Sarr, look out for that name. But as the draft lottery comes about, I mean, I really am not a fan of giving 14% chance of getting the first pick to the three worst teams in the league. I think they should go the NFL method, which is you have the worst record in the league, you pick first in the draft. That's simple. That's why the Pistons need that badly. They need it. Last 2 years have been snubbed to the first overall pick. They've had their worst record in the last 2 seasons, and they haven't even gotten the first overall pick. Because the old NBA draft lottery system used to be the worst 2 teams in the league would get a 22.5% chance to get the first overall pick. Now it's 3 teams with a 14% chance. So it's so weird because this year the Pistons had a 14% chance, Washington Wizards had a 14% chance, and the Hornets as well. So you put those 3 teams in that bracket. I get it. They're trying to make it more fair. But if you're making it more fair, I think you should give it to the worst team, the team that really struggled to win, because they need a franchise-changing player to turn their franchise around. That's exactly what the Pistons have needed the last 2 years. The Hawks are a good team. They finished 10th in the Eastern Conference. They made the play-in, but they don't need a franchise player. But it would help Trae Young stay in Atlanta, just saying. But let's move on to JB's Picks, brought to you by Hard Rock Bets, the only betting app in the state of Florida that you can actually bet in this state. So let's get into my picks. So I got 2 picks today for you guys. My first pick is plus 4.5 for the Timberwolves to beat the Nuggets in Game 5. And then my second pick is the Mavericks winning against the Thunder in 7 games. I think the Timberwolves, they're undefeated on the road in the playoffs this year. Number 1 defense in the regular season. Last 2 games, the Timberwolves have not been strong on the defensive side of the ball. They let the Nuggets score 115 or more in Game 3 and Game 4. Because the Timberwolves, I mean, not going to lie, they were locking up Denver. They didn't let Denver score 100 once on their home floor in Game 1 and Game 2. So I think the Timberwolves are okay. I think they're okay. They know how to win on the road. They are hungry. They do have a lot of size to throw at Jokic. Even though Jokic, he's still going to get his. He's a 3-time MVP. We know he's going to get his. Game 4 last night, he was hitting some big shots. He was hitting some tough fadeaways against Rudy Gobert and the Twin Towers down there. Because, dude, like, my gosh. He is literally Dirk. He has a Dirk bag when it comes to his fadeaway and then in the post. He does have that kind of bag. His passing ability is a little bit different, and his bringing up the ball, his ball handling is a lot different. It's a lot better. But let's just say this. I think the Nuggets still can win this series, but I'm not going to take them because I think the Timberwolves are going to win Game 5. Nuggets will win Game 6. Timberwolves are going to win Game 7 on the road. I just see it happening that way. For some reason, I see no one winning at home this series. And it's going to be very strange. It's going to be very strange. And even last night, I thought the Timberwolves in Game 4 were going to win because Anthony Edwards broke the Minnesota Timberwolves franchise record with 44 points in the playoff game. I mean, dude, this guy's 22 years old, my age, and he is doing this. And he is performing at this level. And he is taking the amount of responsibility to carry a team. That's what you want to see. You want to see these kinds of dogs out here, bro. Because there aren't many of them in today's NBA. There just aren't. There just aren't. But if the Timberwolves want to win this series the way I think they will, Karl Anthony Towns cannot be in foul trouble all the time. Every first quarter, I swear, this man gets 2 fouls, and then he sits the majority of the first half. He has to be in the game for him to make an impact. And in Game 4, 5-18 shooting, 13 points, that is unacceptable. Unacceptable from your second best player. You have to help Anthony Edwards out just a little bit, bro. You have to help this man. You have to help him. Now, speaking of a guy who needs help, I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander needs help in Oklahoma City. Okay, you got Chet Holmgren, great shot blocker. But he's not getting you 20 points a game in the playoffs and against the Mavericks. He's not doing that. Jalen Williams, great player. Had a great game in Game 3, but he needs to step it up just a little bit more, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, they cannot be scoring under 10 points. They can't do it, especially Josh Giddey. He should not be scoring under 10 points and still in the starting lineup. No. That should not be happening. The Thunder need more help. SGA cannot do it all by himself. They need to shoot better from the three-point line. Game 3, they shot 33% from 3. I mean, that's not great. SGA, he's not your best three-point shooter, but he shot the best from the three-point line. And I think the Mavericks, bro, I mean, this is why I'm picking the Mavericks to win this series, because you've got Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, and then PJ Washington scored 27 in Game 3. He has actually been the X factor of this series. PJ Washington is shooting 53% from three-point range in this series. He has been unbelievable. He gives you size, rebounding. He can take the ball off the dribble, drive into the basket, elite three-point shooter. I mean, he is a perfect piece for the Mavericks. That was the biggest pickup in the trade deadline. That put the Mavericks from here to here. It put Mavericks on borderline contender to contender. Because I think the Mavericks can win a title. I think they can. And they got good depth. They got Tim Hardaway. They got Jalen Green coming off the bench. They do have some good defense as well. I like those pieces. Derek Lively, he's a very good piece. I like the Mavericks team, and I think Jason Kidd is a good coach. I think they got a lot of good things going for them, which is why I'm picking them to win in that series. Because Luka and Kyrie, bro, they've been cooking. Game 3, both of those guys had 22 apiece. 22 apiece. I mean, dude, like, I'm just saying, bro. I think the Mavericks, they're more experienced. They've got more talent. The Thunder, they've had a great season. First overall seed, youngest starting lineup in this year's playoffs, youngest team. So I'm going to pick the Mavericks, but great season by the Thunder. I think they'll make it a 6-game series, but I think the Mavericks will pull away in 6. Let's move on to my new segment of the week called Shot of the Week, and that is going to go to Jamal Murray of the Denver Nuggets, okay? Jamal Murray hit a half-court shot at the buzzer to end halftime in Game 4 and just absolutely looked astonished. I'm him afterwards. Kevin Harlan, Reggie Miller, and Jamal Crawford were at the TNT play-by-play table, and they were like, oh, whoa! And Murray, of course, finished with 19 points, 8 of 17 shooting, and 3 of 17 from three-point range. In Game 4, he's been a little banged up, but he's been scoring when it matters and delivering when it matters. He's been doing that all playoffs long. He did that against the Lakers. He sent them packing. I don't know if the Nuggets are going to send the Timberwolves packing, because I'm still taking the Timberwolves to go to the NBA Finals and win it all. But the Nuggets, they're tested right now. They're tested. And for the Nuggets to win this series, Michael Porter Jr. has to step up, especially in Game 5. If they want to go up 3-2, going back to Minnesota for Game 6, Michael Porter Jr. cannot shoot 2 of 4 from the field, 0 of 2 from three-point range, and only have 4 points. That was the stat line in Game 4. And we all know Michael Porter Jr. is not that kind of player. Michael Porter Jr. has been sensational throughout these playoffs. 46% from three-point range. He's been very efficient. 52% from the field, 18 points per game. That's not a characteristic performance by Michael Porter Jr. And I think they will bounce back. And I think it's going to go 7, but I'm taking Timberwolves Game 5 and Game 7 to close this series out and go to the conference finals. Who is the big winner of the playoffs? Now, you guys are probably wondering, well, it's obviously the best team. No, I think it's the team, because the best team to some people is the Celtics, which I disagree with. I think they're the winners of the playoffs because they're getting the easiest path to the finals in NBA history. You don't have to play a healthy Heat team. You don't have to play a healthy Cavs team. And then when you get to the conference finals, you're definitely not going to have to play a healthy Pacers team or Knicks team. So pretty much the Celtics have had a banged up Eastern Conference, and they still struggle at times. They literally lost by 24 points in Game 2 at home to the Cavs with no Jared Allen. And Darius Garland has been irrelevant in this series. He's been averaging 14 points a game, has not been doing anything. Donovan Mitchell has literally been carrying the Cavs. 31 points per game, 53% from three-point range, 51% from the field. And you're telling me that Cleveland gets a game and Boston can't sweep the Heat or the Cavs, and they're going to win a championship? No, bro. The Celtics have a weak Eastern Conference. The Celtics would have lost in the first round if the Heat were healthy. I am telling you right now, there's no way they beat that Heat team who were healthy. No way. Because Jason Tatum, in these playoffs, in 8 playoff games, he has been averaging 4.1 points per game, has hit no threes in the fourth quarter for these playoffs. None. And you're telling me he's one of the best players in the league? Stop. Jaylen Brown has been better in the playoffs this year than Jason Tatum. Jaylen Brown is showing he's worth more money than Jason Tatum right now. I trust Jaylen Brown more to give me a bucket than Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum will miss a wide open 3. It happens. He does it all the time. And he's still very inconsistent. He'll have games where he scores 19. And then he'll have games like Game 3 where he has 33 points. And it's like, oh, Jason Tatum. He's back. Jason Tatum. He's the best player in the league. No. Because whoever the Celtics play in the finals, they're not going to win. Because they're not going to beat the Timberwolves. They're not going to beat the Nuggets. They're not going to beat the Mavericks. And they're not going to beat the Thunder. Those 4 teams are better than the Celtics. And without Porzingis, forget it. And even with Porzingis is a great player when it comes to the three-point line and being on the perimeter. But when it comes to defense and in the interior, he is not good. He is actually a huge liability when it comes to that. Huge. Because I'm not sold on the Celtics. I'm just not. And when it comes to the Pacers and Knicks, those are the two teams that the Celtics get a chance to play in the conference finals. The Heat could have beat every single team healthy in this conference. Bro, oh my God. Like the Pacers, bro, they didn't even play this Bucks at full strength, and they're not even playing the Knicks at full strength. The Bucks didn't even have Giannis when they played them. Dame was in and out of the lineup. Chris Middleton wasn't even healthy. And then we go to the next round, which I'm not crapping on the Pacers season. They've had a good season. They have a good team. But the reason they're in this position is because they've had the teams they've been playing have a lot of injuries. Even the Knicks. The Knicks don't have Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, or Bojan Bogdanovic for the rest of the season. And then OG Anunoby, he has an hamstring injury, so he's been in and out. He may not even play in Game 5. He's a game-time decision. The Knicks need him to play because the Knicks have no size. Pascal Siakam has been cooking the Pacers. He's been averaging 18 points a game in this series. No one can guard him. When you have Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, Hartenstein is your only big, okay? Like, you need OG Anunoby to have some more size. Because Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, that's the Knicks' size right there. That's what they need, but they don't have it. And Jalen Brunson, he has been banged up. He has a sore foot, but he was getting clamped on TJ McConnell. TJ McConnell, he is turning into one of my favorite players in the NBA right now. He is the perfect glue guy. He comes off the bench, he gives you energy, he passes the basketball, he hustles for every loose ball. He came in yesterday, 15 points, 10 assists for TJ McConnell. That's great. That is great. And then he's locking up Jalen Brunson. He is making it so difficult for Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson was dribbling the basketball with his back to the defender so much in Game 4. It wasn't even funny. It wasn't even funny. He was doing it constantly. And I really am, I'm happy for the Pacers, but they just haven't played anybody healthy. And the Celtics are in the same boat. And I'm not going to have any sympathy for the Celtics because I hope they lose to Cleveland. I hope they lose to Cleveland. Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell, they have a chance to beat Boston because Boston always likes to beat themselves. That's what happens. That's what happens. I wouldn't be surprised if they lost tonight. Honestly, wouldn't be. Because they had a great game, and then they're going to take a night off. That's just typically what Boston does. It's like, here we go again. It's like last year, it's like they're to the moon skill level one day, and then they're back in the grass another. I mean, it's night and day with the Celtics. They look like a completely different team every time I see them. Every time I see them. Because you never know who's going to be the guy who's going to lead the way. I feel like. Everyone says Jason Tatum is the best player on the Celtics, but Jaylen Brown also wants to be a Batman. I feel like both of those guys want to be a Batman, not Robin. Because I feel like one of them needs to be a Robin. And I don't know if it's Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. Because I do like Jaylen Brown better than Jason Tatum. Even though Jason Tatum, he has that length, he can get in the passing lanes. But Jaylen Brown, he just has that killer mentality. When he's not turning the ball over, he's very dangerous. But man, I mean, I think when it comes to the Knicks, man, I mean, I really think they're screwed because they went up 2-0 in the series. They got banged up. And I just think the Pacers they have too much size on them right now. They do. So Eastern Conference Finals, Pacers, Celtics. Western Conference Finals, I'm going Mavericks, Timberwolves. in the Western Conference Finals. Those are my predictions for the conference finals. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode. I'm your host, Jackson Burleson. You guys have been listening to another episode of the Take Podcast. Hit that notification bell, hit the like button. Also comment what you guys think about these playoffs, because it's been crazy so far. Peace out, guys.
Talk to me, baby. Talk to me nice. I'm from another world, baby, yeah. Broadway paradise. They think I'm way too cold, cause I put my heart